This is Radar for On the Rant Blog, coming to another edition of Movie Reviews Observation number 71. I watched some really good movies this week, some really bad movies, and they're all over the place in terms of genre. The first movie I watched was Rent a Pal. Library suggests, you know what? That's a horror film. It's not really a horror film, it's a creepy film where this 40-year-old man who takes care of his mother doesn't have a social or dating life, and he does these rent-a-videos where you can meet your dates and stuff. It's in the 90s. And then he's really bad at it, nobody matches with him, so he then gets this tape called Rent a Pal, and Will Wheaton plays it, and the guy pauses, and then you talk to it like you're lonely and stuff. But all of a sudden, he's actually responding to the specific things the guy said, and he's interacting. And you're like, okay, that's cool, that's interesting. But then, of course, things start to take a turn when he, starts to control things go out of whack, things just go horrible, and you're like, okay. So I sat here for an hour and 40 minutes, wasn't scared, it was just stupid, creepy, and annoying, and I guess Will Wheaton has nothing to do in his life that he can be in a movie like this, and overall, I would not suggest wasting your time watching this movie, even if it's like a retro type of horror film taking place in the 90s with VHS tape. So yeah, overall, do not watch Rent a Pal. Then I watched a Russian movie called Sputnik, and it doesn't matter if you're watching in Russian with subtitles, with English subtitles, or just with English dub, because basically some scientist has an alien that came back with him, and it comes out at night and he attacks people and he can't control it. So they hire this scientist doctor who's kicked out from her hospital for questionable things, and they brought her in, and you're like, okay, her goal is she's either going to save the dude and get the alien out, or something's going to happen. And like every other movie about aliens, where no matter what happens, the alien kills everybody. So you know that it was going to happen no matter what company, what country the movie's in and what they're doing. Because of course she's successful in separating it, but then it doesn't matter. The guy, whenever the creature comes out at night, it kills people, and when it's separated, it kills people, and everybody dies. And the only person that survives is the scientist doctor. And you're sitting there and wasting an hour, 50-something minutes of your time watching a movie where you knew what the outcome was going to be, and it wasn't that much different. The creature was really weird, and that gives a horror-esque film to it because it gives you nightmares and stuff. But outside of that, it was just been there, done that. Just adding in a Russian thing, adding in a astronaut in a way, and all these other things. But it wasn't that great. Then another movie the library has that's a horror is Shadow in the Cloud with Chloe Grace Moretz. And the only uplifting thing is it's an hour and 27 minutes, but then abruptly ended with an hour 15 minutes. So you got saved. So you think, okay, cool, it's a World War II movie where a woman's in the military and she's on a mission and stuff. And you're like, okay, cool, it's a wartime film. Okay, that's one part of the movie. But then they add a horror film act to it where these creatures are attacking the plane and stuff. So I got to deal with the Japanese and the creatures. And you're like, okay, cool. It's a mixture of World War II and horror. But there was so much talking, so much wasted time in a movie that was only an hour and 15 minutes that you could have took that out and actually put some more action and fighting scenes. And it turns into a soap opera where she got married young and had a baby with somebody, and she's trying to escape him, and then the baby she had is with another guy who happens to be on the ship, and she's trying to get her baby away from her husband and all this other stuff. So it turned into a fantasy soap opera with creatures and the Japanese attacking them, and I thought it was going to be a good movie, but not even Chloe Grace Moretz could save this movie. It was bad. Then I watched 3 dramas. One was Yellow Rose, and it was a great movie about trying to live the American dream. So this Filipino woman, her mother gets deported with the other people, and she's illegal, but she doesn't want to go back to the Philippines. So she runs away and has to live with her aunt. That doesn't work out. So she runs away to this Texas place, and this woman who owns a bar tries to take her in. But then, of course, immigration's really coming after her and all the people that work there. So the whole movie's her. She wants to be a country music star. And I don't know if she really played the instrument and sang, but really convincing job, this actress, Eva Norbelazada, where Dale Watson, supposedly, if that's his name, is the country music star who she lives with and grows with and becomes a better musician and songwriter. And it was a story about pursuing the American dream and how immigrants have to deal with looking over their shoulder for ICE, and they sacrifice everything for their kids and they work their butts off, and they don't always have something to show for it. But I was like, it was a nice, lighthearted film. It was only 97 minutes. It wasn't that long. It's a musical aspect, even if you don't like country. I would really suggest you watch Yellow Rose because it was a really good emotional movie. Then I watched a drama called Test Pattern, where it is the saving grace that it's an hour and 20 minutes at most. I don't know how it won a couple awards at other film festivals, but basically it's about a white dude who dates a black woman, and the black woman gets roofied when she's out with her friend, and the dude takes advantage of her. And the whole movie is them driving to hospitals to get a rape kit, and they won't give her one, I don't know, because they're raped, or they don't believe her. All this nonsense, and then charging her for her doing nothing. So pretty much, that was the whole movie about it, and it was slowly paced. It was boring. It was just, I understand the political message you're making about, black women in the world and how they're not treated well in hospitals and things like that. But this movie was not that great. It was slowly moving for a short film. And once you read the context of the back of the movie, you're like, okay, make it a 10-minute movie. That's it. Make it a very, very, very short film. Because it's not good. I don't know what people were thinking. Then I watched the drama that was longer than those movies, but it was actually worth it. It was a 2-hour movie called Call the Spy, with Sarah Megan Thomas, Dana Katic, Roddy Apeti. Basically, Winston Churchill had a special operations unit of women spies because they needed somebody who inconspicuous. And basically, Vera Atkins was inspiration for Fleming's Miss Moneypenny in the James Bond franchise. So she recruits 2 unusual candidates: Virginia Hall, American journalist with a wooden leg, and a pacifist this woman who's an Indian descent living in England. And she does like the wires and try to get all the codes and messages out. And the journalist, she's the one that's coordinating all the undercover agents and all their contacts and all the missions going on. And she becomes so good at her job that the Germans are after her when she's in France. She's got to change her appearance. And she eventually, in the future, if you know the story about her, she goes to work for CIA. She does all these other things. And the fact that it was based on a true story, the acting was great, and I'm surprised. The script was pretty good, showing all the sacrifices these people made and stuff, and good choices of actors. So, yeah, overall, despite it being a 2-hour movie, when it's based off a true story, wartime drama movie, it's going to be long, but Call the Spy is another movie I suggest you watch. Okay? And the movie I watched the first day, which was the best one I watched, because, DC movies, animated movies, that's their niche. They make great animated movies and cartoons and comic books. So basically, it's based off the Long Halloween comic book, which is a very long one, so of course it's 2 parts. Jensen Ackles does a great job as Batman. You got Joker, you got Solomon Grundy, you got Catwoman showing her she can be good. You have Harvey Dent before he comes Two-Face, and Commissioner Gordon. And the whole point of the movie is a killer that strikes on holidays. They're trying to figure it out. Then there's all the mob mobsters in Gotham, and then trying to take care of them because they're targets and stuff. And of course, the movie is on a cliffhanger, so I'm really looking forward to the second movie because I want to see where they can go with it, where they're introducing more of Batman's villains and stuff. Because, dealing with crime board, you got to deal with more villains. So the whole movie is Batman trying to figure out, with the help of Harvey Dent, the district attorney, and Commissioner Gordon, who's the holiday killer. They go to Calendar Man. They think Joker could be it. They could be all these things. They're still trying to figure out who it is. The whole movie's Batman's trying to figure it out. And of course, the whole movie is him trying to figure it out. His relationship with Catwoman, Joker and his relationship, and Harvey Dent's relationship, and how he's on the road to becoming Two-Face. So it was very good writing. The animation was good. It really holds up from the actual graphic novel. The voice cast, I'm surprised this time. They did a very good job, and it's not a long movie. So basically, if you like comic books and DC movies, I'd watch Batman The Long Halloween Part 1. If you like wartime dramas, I Call the Spy is good. If you like lighthearted, living the American dream, like musical dreams and stuff, watch Yellow Rose. I would not suggest Test Pattern. I would not suggest Shadow in the Cloud, Sputnik, or Rent the Pal. Because some of them are listed horror and they're not horror films. Take a listen to another edition of Movie Reviews Observations number 71. For On the Radar Entertainment Blog, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.